I'm back off holiday. I've been to see the trains that come with children asleep in the back. So I'm doing some actual electrical content. This is specifically aimed at renewables people who've got renewables in the house. See, I'm zooming out like this, you can see my child. Little bit aimed at people who've got renewables or do a bit of DIY renewables, because I've been having a bit of a problem with this on a renewables forum where people don't grasp this concept, but also require input from the electricians out there who maybe don't know. It's not like I'm not telling you thick. It's trying to get you thinking about electrical problems. So let's go through what the electrical problem is, and I want you to tell me what you think. You need to message me or whatever. Get it to me. Don't worry about getting it wrong. It's about a journey of finding out. So let's discuss the problem. This spans from a conversation I've had on a renewables battery storage solar farm, yeah? Right, here's the scenario. So I'll just give you a little bit of background. My house was just there, I've got solar on it. Now the solar does solar when it does solar. There's a CT, a current transformer on my cable to my solar that tells me how much it's generating. It tells me how much current is flowing. It knows what the voltage is, does the maths and works out the kilowatts, yeah? Easy peasy, that's what a CT does. If you don't know what a CT does, might not be the right video for you. On my battery, which is a 10 kilowatt battery capable of delivering 3 kilowatts at a time off the inverter, there's a CT around my mains cable, and that CT measures how much energy is being used. Then it pumps that energy out. So if it's using 3 kilowatts, it sends 3 kilowatts out and it looks to see it go zero. Then when it goes zero, if it starts to creep up, the battery goes up, and you know what I mean? Basically what it does is, whatever my demand is on my mains cable, it matches it. So initially it puts out the demand. So if this is a 3 kilowatt demand, it puts 3 kilowatts out, yeah? Then it brings that down to like zero, then it goes like 15, so it gives a 15 less. Then it might say neg 15, so it gives 15 more. And it's always playing a little balancing game of trying to match the supply and demand, yeah? So that's what a CT does. Right, here is the question, because this was on the group, and I want you to be open and honest with your answers, right? On your main supply, let's say I've got my battery. Forget about solar, it's not relevant, yeah? So I've got my battery, delivers 3 kilowatts, I've got an EV charger. Now let's just say I've got my battery, and my battery's topping up my supply, so that actually I don't import any electricity. My battery supplies what I want in my premises. Let's say then I buy an EV charger that runs it, let's make it easy, let's say it's 3 kilowatts, yeah? And then I would like, when my EV charger is using power, I don't want my battery supply. I don't want to waste my batteries when it comes straight from the grid. What is this? So there'd be another CT near my incoming supply, near the fuse board, something like that, yeah? What is the simplest way to prevent the power for my EV charger coming from my battery? There's a very, very simple way to do it. There's also very much more complicated ways to do it. There's software and all that. So what's the easiest way? The box is there. Message me if you need to. You can assume what you want. You can assume both the CTs and the fuse boards are on the same location for a start. The battery's got a CT. The EV charger's got a CT, yeah? All I want to achieve, by any means necessary, any means you want to do, but I want the simplest method, is to not supply the EV charger from the battery. If you've read my post on the other group, you'll know what the answer is, or what I think the simplest answer is. But I'll be keen to hear your thoughts, and we'll discuss it a bit further, because it's just an interesting thing. Because just think about it. The battery needs to know what's going off and look at it. The EV needs to take the charge. Just think about that little system works. Don't worry about solar. Just pretend it's a house, and all you've got is a kettle, an EV, and a battery. And the only load is the kettle, but you don't want that kettle being used from, you don't want the EV being used from the battery, basically. Let's see what your thought process is. Bear in mind, you've got a source from the grid, a source from your battery, a load, which is the kettle, a load, which is the EV, and the battery and the EV have got CTs. How would you stop the battery providing power at any time for the EV in the simplest way possible? You do whatever you want. You can offer me any option you want, and I'll tell you if it'll work or not. But I think there's one simple way of doing it. Assume that the battery and the charger are incompatible. They're not by the same manufacturer, so you can't software it out with the manufacturer's own software. First, pass the post for the split it in Henley blocks and have one fuse board for the EV, one fuse board for the kettle in the house. That is a valid way of doing it. It's a very expensive way of doing it, I would say. There's a much easier way of doing it. I'll let you work it out. Anyhow, yesterday I posed a question about an EV charger. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it, yeah, because I think this is one of the things that goes going off on that renewables form, people going, I can't get my CTs right, I need to split my fuse boards, and for some reason on that fucking group they just say, oh, you got to get some Henley blocks. Like, I've never had such bullshit in my entire fucking life. I've not seen anyone do this on social media, anyone explain this on social media about batteries and solar. So I'm going to take the time to explain now so I can probably get copied and not quoted by people, yeah? So let me show you what I've got going off down here to demonstrate to you how you can make one renewable, like solar or EV, disregard another renewable, dead easily, because people are obsessed at the fact that your CTs go around your mains tails. Well, I've got news for you. They don't fucking have to. And there's a few other things you can do with them as well, because a CT acts like a calculator. Let me show you down here. I've made a little experiment up. It's a bit of a mess, but let me take you through, yeah? Over here, I've got a bench of power supply. If I turn it on, I've set it up, switch it on, yeah? You'll see it's set to about 1 amp at 5 volts. It's set at 1 amp at 5 volts because I've got a 10 watt load just here. So my 10 watt load, it's getting a little bit warm now, is taking 1 amp at 5 volts. It doesn't matter what the voltage is. All we're bothered about here is that current in amps. Down here I've got a clamp meter and the cable comes down here, look, and here it turns into 5 cables. This is for something else, but there's 5 cables come out of this now, yeah? So if you look here, look now, we've got about an amp. We've got 0.975. I'm going to go off camera. I'm just going to tweak that up to about bang on 1 amp. So there's a little bit of a resistance going on. So let me just get that to bang on 1 amp and I'll be back. But so far it comes down here and splits into these 5 wires. So as you can see now, look, in this clump of wires here, this would be a mains tail here, look. So if I come along here, look, with my clamp meter, onto here, onto my mains tails, there's about 1 amp. It varies a bit because the resistor's heating up, but there's 1 amp there, yeah? If I go down here where it goes into 5, look, there's still the same amperage. And down here, look, they all split and go off into different areas. So if I take the clamp off here now and put it around one of them, I've got 1.73 amps. I've got 1.69 amps. I've got 1.7 amps, because basically what's happening is the 1 amp that's here is being divided across the 5 wires. So where you've got almost an amp here, yeah, you've got almost 200 milliamps here. So let's go back to being on the mains tails like this. So now we're on the mains tails, and let's pretend we're the battery. So at the minute, this is the clamp for my battery, yeah? So my battery is seeing 0.091, 1 amp. So my battery will now put 1 amp out to make this 0. But if I don't want it to see the EV, all I've got to do is take the EV cable, let's say it's 400 milliamps, let's say it's 2 of these, take them backwards through here. Or they go 1 amp on the dot, look. So if I put these through now, that should read bang on 0.6 amps. Let's put these through here. I can't do it with one hand. There you go, look. So there's your mains tail, and then you take the cable that goes to the battery, the EV out. Now that will always disregard that load. So you don't need to put any box in. You don't need a separate fuse board. You don't need none of that shit. All you need is to take the cable back through your CT. Now I know what you're going to say, oh, the CT clamp's not big enough, or some equally spasticated thing that people on EV renewables forums say, the CT's not big enough. Shut up, you fucking dick. If you're going to go to a wholesaler and buy a fuse board, Henley box and split it all up and charge a customer a fortune, yeah, just go and buy a CT. I mean, is that all big enough for 2 mains tails? Or mains tail 6 mil? Oh, if that's not, maybe this 80 by fucking 50 one is. So don't give me that bollocks like you can't get CT big enough. So there you go. You can totally disregard. So that, if that was the EV, this was the EV, the battery would always disregard the EV load, because like a calculator, putting 1 amp in, and I'm taking that off. So whatever you put in facing one direction will go on, and whatever you put in facing the direction will go off. You can use the neutrals and all sorts of stuff, but it's just the concept is this. So when I see people on EV forums saying, oh, I need a new CT, I need a relay, I need a switch, I need this and that, you don't. Because if you put 1 in this way and take 1 out that way, it will go to 0. For example, let's put them all back through himself, so I'll do that. There you go, look. It's really nothing, because I brought them all back through. You do the neutrals and all sorts. It's not the most accurate experiment, because it's not, because this is melting my desk. I've always melted my phone with it. The fucking power supply's struggling. It's all going off. It's a bit rough, but basically, yeah, if you bring something back through the other way, it disregards it. There you fucking go. Hope that helps some of you with your CT placement. and how you use CTs. Remember, they don't just got to go around the mains cable. They can go around all sorts of cables. Turns off now before something plays on fire. So let's just go straight. Yeah, so this CT, if you put one big cable through here, it will measure the amps on that cable. If you then take that cable out, but then put the 20 cables that come out the fuse board through here individually, it will still measure the same. So if there's a 20 circuit fuse board, you put either the mains cable through it, or the singles through it, measure the same. If you then put the neutrals back through it, or one of them through backwards, it will disregard it and take it off. So people get very obsessed with being only able to place CTs on renewable stuff on the mains tails, and that's not how it is. If you put them on the fuse board, you've got quite a lot of options to do stuff. So yeah, just remember that. And I saw one of the group says, "Oh, you can't get a CT that big, so fuck you." What is that? There's a metre long CT in there. There's a Chevron metre round CT. So that's an 80, that's quite a big size. I think they're about 50 quid, still cheaper than the fuse board. But yeah, I've got some like 1 metre ones. So yeah, don't do that bollocks. Hope that's helpful to you.